Welcome to the journey of learning to hear God's voice. When I was in high school, I was hanging out with a friend and the topic of driver's ed came up. And I asked her why she didn't have her license already. She explained to me that she had gone to take her driver's test twice and had failed both times. I immediately told her about my super laid-back Rastafarian uncle who was a driving instructor. I can't remember if the vehicle that he was using at the time was an old Datsun or an old Toyota. I do remember it was this kind of lime green color. And I told my friend that my uncle was batting 1,000, that he had never had a student fail their in-car test. Every pimple-faced, squeaky-voiced, hormone-excreting teen who had ever taken driver's lessons from him went on to get their driver's license, went on to pass their in-car driving test. So I gave my friend his number. She contacted him for lessons, and she took the test after having taken the required lessons from him, and she failed. Turns out when she was taking the driver's test, the examiner said to her, "Turn left at the lights." The lights were red, and she thought this was some sort of a test. She thought the examiner was trying to trick her. So to prove that you were not supposed to turn left on a red light, she drove straight through. Thankfully, they made it safely to the other side, but she promptly failed yet again. A lot of Christians approach hearing God like my friend approached her in-car driving examination. We nervously wait for God to pull a fast one. We act like He has set us up to fail, like this is a quiz that we can't pass, that it's filled with trick questions. Listen, if you want to take this journey, there are 4 things that you must absolutely be convinced of. First of all, you need to be convinced that it is possible to hear God's voice. Secondly, you need to be convinced that you can actually recognize His voice. Third, you need to be convinced that it is possible to do what He tells you to do. And fourth, you need to be convinced that He is on your side, that there are no trick questions here, that He has not laid out pitfalls and landmines to try to trip you up. If you are not convinced of those 4 things, I would encourage you not to take this journey. You will be painfully frustrated. Those 4 things again, you need to be convinced that it is possible to hear God's voice. You need to be convinced that you can recognize God's voice when He speaks. You need to be convinced that it is possible to obey God's voice. And you need to be convinced that He is on your side, that He is not out to trick you or to trip you up. You want to take this journey to hear God's voice? Come, let's take the journey together.